Hey guys, this is Carrie Allen here, a Charlotte photographer, and I'm going to show you all how to apply a sky overlay. I'm going to be using a photo taken by Kelly Heiser, a Myrtle Beach photographer, and it's a great photo to use because we have kind of a lackluster sky here, and we have an imperfect horizon line. So I'm going to show you some of the tricks I have to get a really natural effect. The first thing you're going to want to do is take the background layer, drag it down to this plus icon, and just go ahead and make a copy. That's going to keep our editing non-destructive. That way we can always go back and revert to the original if we need to. So with the background copy made, we're going to go up to find our ideal sky, and we're going to apply it. So the way we do that is we go to File, Place Embedded, and then you're going to open up your folder to find the sky that you want. So this is the Carolina Sky collection that you can find at carrieallen.com. And these are skies I took at different times of day, different kind of weather, and so we have every type of sky. I'm going to choose a sky that I think suits this scene well. So it's kind of stormy, it's kind of brooding looking, so we don't want to use one of these bright, happy blue skies, but I don't want to use any of these creamy, colorful sunsets either because it just doesn't fit. So I'm going to use the sky that I think could realistically be used in this situation, which is, for me, sky 89. So I'm going to place this. And just the first thing you do before you press OK is you drag the edges out and just make it a little bit bigger than the canvas. That way we have some wiggle room. Bring that up to about where the horizon would be. So here's the bottom of the sky. You're going to bring that right below the sky that we have in the photo to make sure it's completely concealed. And this is something we can fix later, so it doesn't have to be right where you like it. Just get it kind of approximately where you want and then press OK. The next step is to change the blending mode, not to overlay, but to actually multiply. So change the blending mode to multiply and then give it a layer mask. We're going to be doing a series of layer masks here, so this is only the first one that we're going to do. The very first thing I do is I apply image to the first layer mask. So bear with me guys, if you've not done this technique before, it's super simple and it's a great way to automatically blend a sky when you have a bright sky to start with. So in our case, it's definitely a good technique to use. It's going to do a lot of the blending work for us. So go up with the layer mask selected, go up to Image, Apply Image, and then make sure it's set to background copy and not set to merged. So with background copy, blending mode multiply, opacity 100%, and not inverted, you're going to press OK. So that's going to apply the image to our layer mask, and that's going to make sure that we reveal the sky on the highlighted areas and it doesn't give us too dark of shadows. So it's not touching the shadows. That's what that does. Go ahead and unlink that because we don't need these to move together. We want to be able to select the sky and the move tool and move that independently of the layer mask. So that's going to help us a ton in giving us that flexibility. So now that I can see the sky and how it interacts with the background, I can move it exactly where I want it. So I kind of want it off to the right. I can still make it bigger. And I want that bright spot to be kind of where the natural bright spot was before of the image. So I'm going to make it bigger yet. And right about there is perfect for me. And I'm going to press the check. Now I'm going to select this layer again and bring it down to group. So now that I have this grouped, I can actually add another layer mask on top of that. Instead of just working on the same layer mask, this is a good technique for keeping the different masking strategies separate, so you can go back and edit any part of it at any time in a non-destructive way. So with the group selected, you're going to click this layer mask icon on the bottom, and with the layer mask selected, take your brush with the black selected, and that's going to hide whatever is underneath. So you want to make sure you set the flow then to 100% because we are going to get rid of this line. use the right bracket to make this brush bigger or smaller. So smaller is the left bracket, and I'm using the right bracket to make it bigger. And then click one time over here on the left side, hold shift and click again over here, and boom, your sky is already blended. You got rid of that line. So I'm just gonna go back over it again, just make sure it's all gone. Now with that done, come in close and just make sure that there's no sky on them. So in this case, we're totally good. They're sitting right below the horizon anyway. So that was easy, but sometimes you'll have to spend more time masking them out. So take this group and make another group. So we have a group within a group. And now we're gonna use our final layer mask. And this is totally optional because as you can see, this can be done here. But I'm gonna take it a step further and give it another gradient. So select the gradient tool and select this first gradient option, the linear gradient. Make sure you have black selected because we're gonna hide part of the sky. And I like to keep the opacity for this step around 50%. Start right below the horizon and bring it up to near the top but not quite touching, and hit shift to keep it straight. And then boom, we've lessened the effect on the bottom. That way it looks more realistic in terms of having a brighter bottom sky. You'll find that that's kind of what we see in nature a lot of the time. So I do that for my sky overlays as well. It gives them a more natural look and it makes the blending look more seamless. So then I'll take the radial gradient and I'll do the same thing from them, but this time I'll go bigger. And that's gonna give it an overall kind of sunbursting vignette effect. And this is totally optional as well. So just do this to your liking. And another thing you can do before we finish up the sky is you can make a copy. And look at that. We've totally increased the drama that we have from the sky already. So that was just to show you guys an option. I'm gonna go ahead and delete that. Something that I wanna do first before I make a copy, if I decide to do that, is I'm gonna select the original sky and I'm gonna blur it just a little bit. So do not skip this step. It's gonna look totally fake. In this case, it doesn't look too bad, but I've seen it where people apply a sky and the clouds are totally crisp looking and in focus, and that background is just blurry and it looks really off. So make sure you don't skip this step. Give it some kind of a blur, pretty much no matter what, unless you're shooting at a very narrow aperture and everything is in focus, you'll want to use this. So select the sky, come up to filter, blur, give it a Gaussian blur, and you can drag it to see what looks best. Obviously that's too blurry for this photo, but if you have a photo where you shot it at like f1 and subject is super close, you might want to go that blurry. In this case, I'm just gonna blur it just a little bit. I'm gonna do it right about there. And then I'll press OK. And there we have it. It looks like this could have been the sky that day. But I do want to see if I like it multiplied. So I'm going to copy and paste that entire group, so the layer within a layer within a layer. And then I'm going to lower that opacity because I don't want it totally doubled. But yeah, maybe just to like there. And then there you have it. Something you can do to just quickly toggle on and off is just make another group and just hide and reveal that to see the changes. So there's before and after. The last step you'll want to do is go ahead and flatten your image, and then you'll go ahead and save it however you normally would. And that's it. Thanks for watching.